On the surface, my life looked perfect. Successful career, loving family, holidays, and a comfortable home. I had everything society says should make us happy. But beneath it all, I felt a persistent emptiness I couldn't explain. Each day, I played my part, smiling, working, caring for my family, while inside I felt lost and anxious. The disconnect between my outer life and inner reality was exhausting. I felt guilty for my unhappiness, comparing myself to others and wondering what was wrong with me. I tried to fix it with new hobbies, promotions, or vacations, but nothing filled the void for long. My achievements brought only fleeting relief. It was like trying to quench a deep thirst with a single drop of water. The real problem wasn't outside, it was within. I was living in a beautiful house, but emotionally, I was homeless. The more I tried to ignore it, the more the unhappiness grew. I began to realize I needed to look deeper. In the midst of my quiet crisis, I discovered Søren Kierkegaard, a 19th-century Danish philosopher. I found him through a podcast on a lonely commute, and his words struck a chord. Kierkegaard understood the feeling of being lost in a world of endless choices and expectations. He wrote passionately about what it means to be an individual in a noisy, distracting world. He warned that the crowd and public opinion can drown out our inner voice. Kierkegaard called the feeling I had despair. Not a personal failure, but a universal human experience. He argued that despair is part of being alive and free. Suddenly, I felt less alone. My struggle was not unique, it was meaningful. Kierkegaard became a companion in my living room, naming the dread I couldn't explain. Kierkegaard's idea of despair changed everything for me. He saw despair as a spiritual sickness, having a self but not being truly yourself. You can have everything and still feel empty if you're not living authentically. Despair comes from losing touch with your deeper self, getting lost in routines or social roles. To cope, we wear masks, public personas that hide our true feelings. I wore the mask of the competent professional, the happy husband, but maintaining the facade was exhausting, and deep down, I knew it wasn't real. Kierkegaard called this anxiety the dizziness of freedom, the terrifying realization that we have choices, and those choices matter. Most of us distract ourselves or pretend everything is fine. But the despair lingers, surfacing in quiet moments. The real challenge is to confront the gap between who we are and who we pretend to be. Only then can we begin to heal. The mask protects us, but it also traps us. Kierkegaard identified two types of despair. The first is unconscious despair, being unhappy but not knowing it, blaming circumstances instead of looking inward. I lived here for years, chasing promotions and distractions, hoping something external would fix me. The second is conscious despair, realizing the problem is within. This can lead to self-loathing, wishing to be anyone but yourself, or it can turn into defiant pride, insisting you need no one, but remaining isolated. My journey began when I could no longer blame my circumstances. I had to face myself honestly, and it was terrifying. But Kierkegaard saw this crisis as the first step toward healing. Admitting the truth is painful, but necessary. Only by facing ourselves can we move forward. The journey inward had begun. Moving from unconscious to conscious despair was slow and painful. The mask I wore began to crack, and I could no longer pretend. I saw my coping mechanisms, overworking, constant planning, as ways to avoid myself. Confronting my true self felt like betrayal, but it was essential. Kierkegaard taught that this confrontation is not the end, but the beginning. It means accepting your flaws, insecurities, and fears. The temptation is to build a wall of pride or cynicism, but that only deepens despair. True healing comes from accepting yourself, then relating that self to something greater. It requires humility and openness, not pride or isolation. This is the leap Kierkegaard describes, a leap toward authenticity. It's not about rejecting the world, but embracing your place in it. The journey is difficult, but it's the only way to real joy. I realized I had to risk being myself. Kierkegaard's cure for despair is a leap of faith. Not blind belief, but embracing uncertainty and letting go of control. For him, faith meant trusting in something greater than yourself. For me, it became a leap into self-acceptance and connection. I learned to let go of the need for answers and to live with the questions. Small acts of presence, walking in nature, listening to music, being with loved ones, became moments of quiet joy. These moments re-enchanted my world. Joy returned, not as loud achievement, but as gentle gratitude for ordinary things. Kierkegaard called this the night of faith, someone who finds the sacred in the everyday. On the outside, nothing changed. Inside, everything did. I learned to surrender control and receive life as a gift. The leap was not about certainty, but about trust. In letting go, I found joy. The extraordinary was hidden in the ordinary all along. If you feel lost in a seemingly perfect life, you're not alone. True happiness isn't found in more achievements, but in an honest inward journey. Start by creating small spaces for reflection. Turn off your phone. Walk in silence. Notice your thoughts. Ask yourself gentle questions. What am I running from? What would it mean to be more honest today? You don't need all the answers. Just begin the conversation with yourself. Seek wisdom from those who've walked this path. Philosophers, poets, therapists, or nature itself. Let their voices offer understanding, not easy solutions. Be patient and kind to yourself. The journey from despair to joy isn't a straight line. There will be setbacks, but that's part of being human. The goal isn't constant bliss, but learning to live with more grace, self-acceptance, and faith. The happiness